Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And we've had some great positive things over the last several years where we've seen several Black females that have garnered high political and legal positions. And that's been a great thing. But a few of them have gotten in a little bit of hot water. So we applaud it on one spectrum, and the other, we have to know when we go into these particular high legal and political arenas that there will be a spotlight applied to you. And some of them have had some issues. I have a case that I want to talk about in particular. But let's go through some of the Black females that have been garnered to have some of these high positions. Of course, we had Tashara Jones, who was the first Black female mayor of St. Louis, who recently lost her reelection bid. You got Mayor Karen Bass of LA, who got caught up in the whole wildfire debacle when she allegedly went to a celebration in Ghana when the fire started. Of course, Fulton County Fannie Willis, who was going after Trump for voter fraud in Georgia. And then her administration has had some issues. Of course, Claudine Gay, who was the first Black female president of Harvard, and she only ended up being there less than 6 months. There was another attorney, Baltimore U.S. Attorney Marilyn Mosby, who got indicted and who got charged and indicted and convicted of fraud. And of course, we had Kim Foxx, who was the district attorney for Cook County, which is the second largest prosecuting attorney's office in the country. And she was there from 2016 to 2024. And part of her claim to fame was, of course, going after R. Kelly. Also, we have a Black female mayor in New Orleans. And we also had a Black female mayor in San Francisco who just lost a recount vote a year or two ago over a lot of the liberal laws that were being displayed and pushed on the books. Well, we got another one. And this one is New York Attorney General Letitia James, who was going after Trump a couple of years ago for mortgage fraud and a declaration about him falsifying the value of his corporation and his properties. And now she's being accused of the same thing. So let's get into her case. New York Attorney General Letitia James accused of possible mortgage fraud. New York Attorney General Letitia James has been referred for federal criminal prosecution for alleged mortgage fraud related to a Virginia home and a New York City property. William Pulte, director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA, wrote a letter obtained by CBS News New York to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, alleging that James has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans in more favorable loan terms. Now, follow this story, because what they're alleging that she has got her hand caught in the cookie jar is the same thing that this same attorney general was going after Trump. So is this true or not? And if it is, there's a certain level of hypocrisy involved here. So details of the allegation. Pulte alleges that Attorney General Letitia James may have falsified her resident status at a home in Norfolk, Virginia, to get a better mortgage rate. Now, remember, this is in Norfolk, Virginia, but she has to have her primary permanent residence has to be in New York, since she's the New York Attorney General. So she can't live in Virginia and be the U.S. Attorney General for New York. According to Pulte, in 2023, James granted Shamise Thompson Hairston power of attorney to make the Norfolk property purchased in August of that year her principal residence, which he can't do, despite James actually living and serving as Attorney General in New York at the time. At the time of 2023, New York, Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, property purchase and mortgage. At the time of the 2023 Norfolk, Virginia property purchase and mortgage, Ms. James was the sitting Attorney General for New York City and is required by law to have her primary residence in the state of New York, even though her mortgage application listed her intent to have the Norfolk, Virginia property as her primary home, Pulte wrote. Pulte also alleges James bought a 5-family property in Brooklyn in 2001 with a loan that is only available for homes with 4 units or less. So these are what the mortgage fraud allegations are. Spanning the last 2 decades, Attorney General Letitia James has consistently misrepresented the same property as only having 4 units in both building permits and numerous mortgage documents and applications. It appears that Ms. James may have listed the Brooklyn, New York property as 4 units instead of 5 units in order to meet the conforming loan requirements and thus receive better interest rates. It also alleged that Attorney General Letitia James and her father signed mortgage documents all the way back in 1983, stating that they were husband and wife. Now remember, these are all allegations. Hopefully none of it's true. Ms. James, for both properties listed above, appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable loan terms, Pulte concluded, adding that it could lead to charges such as wire fraud, mail fraud, and bank fraud, along with making a false statement to a financial institution. Bondi said she was aware of the referral and will be reviewing it. Now, this is Attorney General Letitia James's response to the allegations. Attorney General James is focused every single day on protecting New Yorkers, especially as this administration weaponizes the federal government against the rule of law and the Constitution. She will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are, a spokesperson for the New York Attorney General's office said. The next day, James appeared in an interview on NY1 where she said the allegations are baseless and called them nothing more than a revenge tour. James went after Trump so Letitia James, the U.S. Attorney of New York, went after the Attorney General of New York City. She went after Trump for these same similar fraud allegations. In 2022, James sued Donald Trump for years of alleged financial fraud, claiming Mr. Trump and his family participated in a conspiracy to inflate his net worth by billions of dollars in order to secure better loan rates, among other things. A judge found them liable and ultimately ruled Trump and the Trump organization must pay $354 million in fines, although the actual total recently climbed to above $500 million due to interest while he appeals. He said he was going to go after his enemies. He's declared he'd be going after his enemies, and he's finally gotten down to maybe the J's on his list, referring to Letitia James. He's going to keep going, Governor Kathy Hochul said. I'm going to allow her to have a chance to explain all of this. Now remember, the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, had gotten indicted for a plethora of issues, and his entire department is falling apart. So you got the Attorney General now that's in hot water. You got the mayor that's been in hot water. New York has a lot of stuff going on. What are the legal experts saying on the allegations? So it says that James has built her entire career on exposing deception. So right now, it's a very problematic situation for her because she's being accused of the same acts that she accused Donald Trump of. And I think there's a high probability they will go after her. Civil fraud is when you sign a declaration or make any statements to obtain favorable outcomes, some benefits of any type. So in this particular case, it would be more favorable for mortgage terms. If that is proved, then that constitutes civil fraud. Legal expert Nicole Bernecki said. Bernecki said, however, there are statutes of limitations in cases of fraud. I think this is why that last instance where she allegedly declared her husband, her father, her husband, that was mentioned last in the letter, because it's just, I think, inflammatory at this point because it was so long ago, Bernecki said. James has not been charged with anything. So in reference to Bernecki talking about the instance where Miss James, the New York Attorney General, supposedly had signed a document with her dad and said that it was her husband with her father, and she signed a document saying it was her husband, allegedly. That goes all the way back to 1983. So the statutes of limitations have definitely run out on that. But this other deal with this property, with this Norfolk, Virginia property, that's in 2023. So we know definitely the statutes of limitations have not run out on that. The statutes of limitations on the 5-family property in Brooklyn was back in 2001. So, of course, the statute of limitations are up on that. But these other two, the situation with the Virginia home and the alleged falsifying of documents going back to 2023 are just 2 years old. Is this a witch hunt? Is this the Trump administration going after the New York Attorney General because she went after him? Is it the same thing with a U.S. Attorney, Fani Willis, in Fulton County, Georgia, where she went after President Trump, for voter fraud, and it seems like her entire cabinet or attorney's office is falling apart with allegations of inappropriate relationships with one of her staff members, the black male attorney who she hired and supposedly paid him over $800,000 in a year and a half. There's been a lot of rumblings and chaos and disorder down there in Fulton County with Fani Willis. And I told you before that you got to remember they went after the Baltimore U.S. Attorney Marilyn Mosby a couple of years ago for fraud allegations also. And not only did she get charged, she got convicted. And now we have New York Attorney General Letitia James in a bit of a hot water. And if any of these allegations are true, there is a little bit of hypocrisy that's involved in this if she's being charged by the government for the same charges as she was trying to go after Trump. When we're talking about fraud, bank fraud, mortgage fraud, signing documents illegally, that does not shine a very good light if these allegations are true on Miss Letitia James. Tell me what you think about this case. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.